Okay, this is a little different today. This little different video is brought to you by Suzuki Kyalami. I'm just going to check that we're on air and that I've got everything the right way up, because I don't actually know. So give me a second while I check my device and see who's going to join me. Now the birds will start. Billy, it's not your turn to say hello. No, not hello, Billy. No. No, now he makes those silly noises. I knew this was going to happen. He's been quiet before I started the show. Okay, I'm kind of framed all right. Kind of. I need to move the camera up a bit. Let's see if that works. Okay, so how's it? This show is brought to you by Suzuki Kyalami. And I'm at home today because I'm busy doing editing and a lot of video processing, and it's just taking forever. Video editing jobs, they start off one way and then you think they're going to take 10 hours and they take 20 hours, but that's just the nature of the beast. Anyway, I want to see what you've got to say, so comment in the comment section. I'm looking forward to seeing Tom's army. My bloodstream and the caffeine in my bloodstream is powered by Visinov coffees. They put the caffeine in my bloodstream. Now, why am I at home today and what are we going to do besides talk about editing? Firstly, can I interest you in a chicken wishbone? I got a roast chicken today. The lady who helps me in my house was here and I thought, let's get some roast chicken. So I got, I got this wishbone, and it's the second time I've seen a wishbone like this, and I'm just thinking, when I was a kid, wishbones looked a whole lot different to this, man. They were bigger. And now I don't know. Am I wrong? Did wishbones get smaller? Anyway, that's been bothering me, and I thought I'd ask you. But the real thing I thought we'd do today, because people were putting pictures up of birds doing a flight now. People were putting pictures up of some of the radio stations I've worked at, or the teams that I've been involved in, and I'm going to have to give these birds something to eat, so give me a second while we give them a chip, and then I'll explain what we're going to do with my box. I've got a big box over here, and I'm going to open my box I haven't opened in 18 years. So come with me, we're going to open boxes. The only thing that will keep you quiet is a chip. Now we hope brainy birds don't see this, because they'll tell me you must not give chips to parrots. But we are desperate here. Desperate. We are desperate. So that will keep them quiet for 5 minutes. So yeah, there were these posts about Yebo Radio and my team that I led there. And there were posts on 947, people mentioning me that works out. And I thought, I've got a box in my storage room that is full of all the t-shirts I got when I worked on radio. If we did an event or if I did a show and it had a t-shirt, there were all these t-shirts, and I put them in a box about almost 20 years ago, and I've never opened the box. I don't really do that. I don't sit with boxes and pour over the past and reminisce and stuff like that. But today I thought, it might make for good content. I don't know, maybe someone will be interested in looking at some of the things that I collected along the way. So let's see. Let's take this out the box. These are the kind of demos I'd get when I ran Yebo Radio at Vodacom. This was by far the most creative demo presentation I ever got. That came from Shani, and she ended up working at the radio station, and then I moved to Stellenbosch, and then a few years later she moved to Cape Town, and we ended up being boyfriend and girlfriend. So that one's actually got some special meaning to me. Let's have a look. Next t-shirt out there. It's going to be mostly t-shirts now and caps. Next t-shirt out the box. This is when Johannesburg was running brand building, and they were branding the place as a world-class African city with water. There were these t-shirts, and this is a t-shirt with a sketch of Nelson Mandela and it says home to the world's greatest citizen and me. And the thing I remember this t-shirt. I wonder if I'm correct. The thing I remember, it was a special edition. There were only 50. So this is one of 50 that were made. So that's quite a special one. Haven't seen that in 20 years, man. Okay, t-shirt number 1. And you can comment. I'm going to look for your comments. Hi, Benita. Thanks for joining me. Thea is on board. Heather says, good afternoon. Heather's in Uitenhage. And the second stop of her beautiful holiday, she's having lovely rain. That's lovely. What else is happening here? Margie Brown's on board. Let's do some caps. This was a 94.7 cap. So what is now 947 started out life as 94, 95. I can't remember the catch line, your smoother alternative, something like that. And they only played middle of the road soft music. And then Prime Media bought them, rebranded them 94.7. There might be some shirts in there from those days. And then they were rebranded again when the studios moved to Gwen Lane, I think. And this was the branding in the 2000s when Jeremy Mansfield was at the top. These were the caps. What does it say there? They branded themselves Joburg's #1 hit music station. So that was a cap that I probably wore to 94.7 events. This is a cap I definitely wore, because can you see how old and dirty it is? This was my very first, when I went to work at 702, they gave me a set of headphones, a pair of headphones, which I still use to this day. Sony SMs, they're the best headphones ever. Can you imagine headphones lasting 22 years and still working perfectly? Anyway, and they gave me a cap and a t-shirt, or a shirt with a long sleeve shirt. I think it was winter. It might have been summer when I went to work there. But anyway, you can see that thing I wore to many 702 functions. This is a cap, a Yebo radio cap. This is when, so I went to Vodacom to set up a music radio station that would stream free on cell phones back in 2008. But the project never got off the ground. It got to 3 weeks, I think a month before we launched, it was pulled. But we'd already done all the branding, and that was the Yebo Radio logo. This is before Vodacom branded, with the Vodafone red. Vodafone changed from red to green, I think in 2009, somewhere around there. Okay, what's this? Oh, well, this I've probably never worn. This is some kind of rugby cap. This was probably given to me at a rugby game that I went to watch. I think in the early 2000s, 702 had this pastel blue kind of imaging on the merchandise and the retail or the apparel. I don't know, that's quite interesting. And they branded that Joburg's #1 news and information station. This is a Vodacom hat from when I worked at Vodacom. This is a 567 Cape Talk hat. When I worked at 702, all my shows were syndicated to Cape Talk. And my friend Selwyn used to say to me, if you want to get the Cape Talk audience on your side, we better go to Cape Town every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, my best friend and I would mission off to Cape Town. Sometimes we'd fly, sometimes we'd take the train, and I'd go to all the suburbs. Every 2 weeks, I'd go to a different suburb in Cape Town so that I could learn the character and learn about the people of Cape Town. So that's my 567 Cape Talk hat that I didn't wear that much because I didn't do many shows out of Cape Town. Now this is probably a 702 jumper. Yeah, this was quite nice. I quite enjoyed these. I spent a lot of time in these. Just a simple 702 logo and then Joburg's #1 news and information station. That was the beginning of the move away from personality-based talk radio, your John Burkeses of the world being at the top of the pile, and more towards news and current affairs. It was probably around 2003, somewhere around there, maybe a little later, that 702 shifted slightly from being almost exclusively personality-driven to news and content-driven. So the shows became a lot more about what's happening. This is a Prime Media broadcasting shirt. It had all the Prime Media companies printed on it. This was quite nice. It had these embroidered labels on. Let's see what this is. Sorry, if you get bored, I don't. Oh, this is. Well, I don't know. This was a joke. Someone gave this to me for my birthday. I think my first girlfriend. That's embarrassing. Oh, this shirt is an interesting one. I've been working at 702 for 2 weeks. I think I was supposed to have done 2 shows, and they scheduled me for a Monday midnight to 4 show. And in my naivety, I thought that Monday meant I get up Monday night, I go to work around 9 o'clock, midnight I go on air. But actually Monday midnight is Sunday night, and I didn't think of that. So I was at home watching DVDs with my phone off when the radio station were trying to call me and find out where I was, and I missed my second show at 702 by a whole show. It's the only show I've ever missed. And the next day, I think I actually got on my knees, like physically got on my knees in front of Yusuf Abramji, maybe he'll remember that, and begged them not to fire me. So they didn't. And then about a week later, we were told we're going on a team building event, we're going on a cookout, and somebody said, might have been David O'Sullivan or someone said, oh, we've done this before, that's where we do like poikie competitions. And I thought, that's cool. And I went to this venue in Muldersdrift, and we were sitting in a room, and there were these facilitators, and they said, if you've got 3 fears, write your 3 biggest fears down on a card. And they gave us cards, and I handed mine in. I didn't write anything on it. And this guy, the facilitator, said, who's Tom London? I said, it's me. And he said, why have you written nothing? You haven't written anything, no fears. I said, well, I'm sitting on a chair in Muldersdrift. I've got no fear in me right now. And he said, great, you'll be the first one to walk on fire tonight. And I went, what? So I was really in a jam. I'd gone and been arrogant and Slim Fang say boss. And as well as that, I had to walk on coals, or I'm sure they would have fired me. So I walked on coals for 702. We all did, except Gareth Cliff. He looked at this when they said we're walking on coals. He handed his card in, and he got in his car and drove home. And when everyone went to look what he put on his card, he'd drawn a map of the world. I'll never forget it. Oh, well, this would be the Spa Ladies 10 kilometer challenge races. I think I used to MC some of them. I think they still hold them once a year, if I'm not mistaken. This is a Walk the Talk t-shirt. If you ever went on a Walk the Talk, this was the 2002 Walk the Talk design. I hope you're not getting bored. There's another one of those long sleeve, but bigger 702 logo. What do you do with stuff like this? You know, I look at it and I go, what do you actually do with it? You can't hang it on walls or something. What do you do with this? Throw it away? Give it to people? I don't know. This is a Mother's Day at the Zoo concert. I remember that concert. It was people lined up for about an hour to get my autograph and take pictures with me. And at the end, after like an hour or 2, there was an old man at the end of the queue. And I could see he'd been waiting there for an hour. I thought, geez, this guy must be a super fan. And he came up to me and he said, are you Tom London? And I said, yes. And he said, I effing hate you. I'll never forget that. It's those kind of things that bring you back down to earth. This was a company, a record label that I had in 1997 with a friend called Sandy Fletcher. Nia Nell was an artist on that label. I think this is another Walk the Talk, because we did, you know, year after year. You can see I've sweated the hell out of these. I'm too embarrassed to show you all the sweat stains. But I think that's signed by Lucas Khadebe, if I'm not mistaken. This is my teddy bear from when I was a kid. He had a little device in that used to go wah, wah, if you tilted him, and then it broke. So his name was Teddy Bear Broken when I was a child. And this teddy bear was my best friend, I would say, until I was 10, 11. I used to sleep with him next to me. And I had to go in for an operation when I was 15. And in those days, do you remember those decals you got in Lucky Packets or whatever? You could iron them onto t-shirts. I wanted to iron a decal onto the teddy bear. And you can see I melted his chest. And I did this the night before I was going into hospital, and I was devastated. In fact, I think I can't remember how old I was. I'm almost tempted to say I was 15, but I think it was another operation before that. But you can actually see the plastic from the decal is still left on Teddy Bear Broken's chest. Back to the t-shirts. This was a company I worked for in the late 2000s called Win Media Group. We produced, I think, over 700 television programs in 2 years. It was a very busy part of my life. I think back to 702 now, Mother's Day again, another year, another t-shirt. A 567 t-shirt, haven't seen this in a long time. So yeah, there's a Cape Talk 567 t-shirt. It's quite nice, hey, the yellow on the black. I'm just looking at the design. Some work better than others, but you know, when you get the t-shirt on the day, you don't think that. It's only years later that you go, oh, okay. And that's another Win Media Group. That's when we were working on TV shoots. We'd be wearing t-shirts like that. What is this? Another Mother's Day concert at the zoo. I did a couple of them. That's 2007. That would have been my last Mother's Day concert at the zoo. I can't believe I actually wore these things, because you hardly ever see me in shorts, and never shorts that short. Another 702 t-shirt. What else we got? Anything interesting here? Oh, this was quite cute. This was, Vodacom would give us merchandise almost on a weekly basis. Remember the Meerkat adverts? The Vodacom Meerkat adverts? That's the merchandise that was going out at the time. I worked for 94.7 twice. Once in 1997 when I did the 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. show. And then I went back in 2007 and I did a stint with Anele and Doda. We did the 7 to 10 show, the Hot 30. And so when I was doing the Hot 30 in 2007 with Anele, that was the shirt. I think we'd had an argument about 2 days into doing the show, and then maybe she felt bad or something, or wanted to make it up to me, I don't know. But on my birthday, she said, I've got a surprise for you. And the door opened, it was Leanne Liebenberg, who came and sat on my lap and sang happy birthday like Marilyn Monroe to me, which was quite a nice birthday present. This is a t-shirt from the restaurant group that I was part of, Prime Grill. If you ever ate at a Prime Grill in Northmead or Boksburg on Rietfontein Road or Norcom Mall, or Centurion, Royhuiskraal, and we had other branches as well, but yeah, those were our restaurants. What else? Is it going to get boring? It's just going to be the same stuff. This is an interesting one. This is quite historic, actually. I can't remember which year it was, but 702 switched over to FM from AM. I think it was in 2006. 2006 or 2007. It was a very big deal because it meant that 702 could access the Tshwane audience as well as get crystal clear audio on your car radio. And this was the t-shirt celebrating the switch to FM. Let's see what this is. This is an Elections 2006 t-shirt. They were very strong on retail back then. Hey? I don't know if radio stations still print as many t-shirts and things. We're going back to this baby blue of 702, early 2000s. Well, that'd be 2005, celebrating 25 years. So that's a 25th year celebration shirt. That one is far too rude to show you. That's another one that one of my girlfriends got me. That's a club that I was involved in on the East Rand called Club Stamina, Princess Avenue. Let's see what else have we got here. Here's one of those Checkers little garden things that's been lying around for years. Another Walk the Talk. And there are only a few left here, so don't worry. Oh, this is nice. I should actually wear this. This is a nice thick long sleeve 702 top. This is from a nightclub that I worked at on the East Rand called Tramps. These were the Tramps nightclub t-shirts. Tramps was in Boksburg, it became Ramp Divas, but I was there when we opened the place. Oh, this is interesting because this takes us back to 1997 and 94.7's first branding after the SABC. So you see it's quite different. You saw that red and yellow just now. And this was the branding back when Jeremy Mansfield took the breakfast show. That's your 1997 94.7 branding. You do not see that anywhere. Oh, this t-shirt, oh wow. This t-shirt says Active Challenge on. This didn't come from a company. My grandparents on my mother's side weren't wealthy people. So you never got a birthday present for them, like a 10,000 Rand birthday present or something, or a $2,000 birthday. You'd never get that. They didn't have the money for that. But they'd give you a little bit of cash and they'd buy something that you wanted, a toy or something. And you'd always get a t-shirt or something. My grandmother would go off, I think, to Osmond's or some trading shop. And she'd go buy these t-shirts. Obviously, they didn't cost a lot. But this was probably given to me when I was a teenager by my momo, that my media company is named after. And I held on to this shirt. I had a feeling when I got this shirt as a teenager that I'd want to hold on to it because one day I'd look back on it and it would be like my coat of many colors. So, wow. Sure. That one brings up real emotions. Another 567 Cape Talk shirt. This was our Yebo radio branding when Vodacom was blue. This is what our DJs were going to be wearing. Making waves is the slogan for it. Playing on airwaves and disrupting the industry. And then these were our, that was the logo, which represents a microphone and the signal going out. This is what the kitchen staff in the Prime Grill in the restaurants would wear. They'd wear t-shirts like that. Everyone that worked in the business was branded. This t-shirt, I think I bought this at Mr. Price Home or something. I was shooting a pilot TV program and I had a great idea of fighting baby Jake Matlala at the Dube Community Center in Soweto. And he blitzened me, he knocked me out in the second round. I was wearing this t-shirt on the day and I asked him to sign it. So that's actually signed by Jake. It says best of luck, baby Jake Matlala, who I really loved, and he left us too soon. Eh? Okay, 2 or 3 to go, that's it. These are going to be boring ones. Another Mother's Day concert at the Zoo, 2005. If you were there, I was there. The t-shirt doesn't lie. My word. Now I don't even know if I should show this t-shirt. I got quite good at emceeing ladies' nights in nightclubs. I started developing a little bit of a reputation and clubs were calling me to come and MC. And then I got a call to do a stag night, which I'd never done in my life before, at a club called Chariots on Witkoppen. And it was good money and I went through and I messed the gig up. I completely messed it up. I made enemies with the audience. There were about 200 guys there. They were throwing things at me. It was a nightmare. And a week later, I got asked if I would fill in for Mel Miller. Mel Miller, of all people. I must fill in for Mel Miller at, remember Hustler magazine? At a Hustler stag night. And the nightclub owner who asked me to do it used me for a lot of other work and almost like pushed me to do it. I was so scared because I'd messed the gig up the week before. But I went and did this stag night and it was successful. But those were the t-shirts. I don't think you get away with stuff like that today. Discovery Health. Never done anything with them. Oh, okay, it's another Walk the Talk. That time in blue. And I think that's it. The last item here is a Primedia scarf. And then there's one more thing in here, and that is my mom at one stage got into knitting foot warmers. And so we all got foot warmers, and much like my grandmother's shirt, I kept it not because I use it that much, but because every stitch in these foot warmers was made with my mom's love. And then there's one more little thing here. These are just t-shirts. I've also got other memorabilia in another box. I mean, I don't know, if you're bored, let me know, but if you're not, one day I'll open another box. This was, do you remember this campaign, Eggbok? Eggbok. This is in the days of Ian de Vos and Carl Kakillis on 9495 Highveld Stereo, 9495, and it was just before the 94 elections, and people were very nervous and didn't know what was going to happen to the country. And 9495 Highveld Stereo ran a campaign called Eggbok, where they asked people to try and guess what Eggbok, E-G-B-O-K, stood for. And it turned out, and it released just before, I think it was the elections, the answer to what does Eggbok stand for was, everything's going to be okay. So that could apply today. Everything's going to be okay. And so there we go. I hope you've enjoyed going through my box of radio t-shirts. Let me see what you've got to say. I'm going to go through the comments now. Hello Luzanne. Hello Marlene. Hello Alistair. Thea's on board. What are you doing, going through memory lane? Yeah, I saw these posts about these stations I worked at today. I thought, I've got a box of t-shirts. Let me pull them out. Gwen is saying hello from Perth. Peggy Levy from Perth. Hello Peggy, thank you for joining us. Rosemary's on board. Dawn says, hi there, memorabilia is awesome. Benita Harris says, are you going through memory lane? It's cool. Okay, the Perth people are talking to each other. That's good, they're going to make friends, you see. Love the radio, yeah, well, radio cap, says Margaret, thank you. Oh yeah, Alistair says we have at least 3 birthdays to someone. So happy birthday to you, Nikki Hart. Happy birthday to you, Beverly Ann Lloyd. And Pat, happy birthday to you, Petronelle Guillem. May you have many happy days ahead. Happy birthday. Thank you, Alistair. Brunel says, I remember when you were on 567 at night. I really loved the Cape Town audience. They were one of the most amazing audiences. Dawn Solomon is checking in from New Zealand. Hi, Dawn. Thanks for checking in. Gaynor just got back from frail care, which drains her, had her in tears again. I'm so sorry. And the people are being rude. That's not good. I don't know why is there so much rudeness in the healthcare sector? You go to a GP, well, not at HealthWorks where I go, but many times before, you go to a GP and the receptionist is the most sour person, like they're eating sour worms. And then you go into these places where care is supposed to be central to everything, and there's just nobody knows how to behave. I don't know. Anna says, don't let those things lie around in a box. Get someone to auction them. Yeah, but they're also mine, so I don't know how I feel about auctioning them. And I think you'd probably get about $100 for one. That's not valuable stuff. Margaret says, at least you got to walk on hot coals. That's true. Helen says, I had so much branded stuff in caps, I gave a lot to a charity shop. Then you know my pain. Rishi says, Tom London, please, a 702 cap and a t-shirt. Yeah, Rishi, with pleasure. I've only got one 702 cap. I think that's decent. I'm going to keep that, but I'll gladly give you a t-shirt. Send me a DM. We'll sort it out. Are you doing spring cleaning? No, I'm going through the box. Guten Tag, Tom. Hope you're well. Billy Kirker. Thanks, Billy. I'm watching the hospital story, by the way. Love Teddy. Get him fixed at Teddy Hospital. Are there Teddy hospitals to fix teddy bears? Everyone loves the teddy bear. Hi Sharon, hope you're well. Thea loves the Suzuki cap I'm wearing, thank you. Marlene loved the Vodacom Meerkats. I think that was Romeo Kamalo's campaign. What else we got here? Hand it to homeless guys or car guards. You see, the thing is, all of these, like each t-shirt there's got a memory for me. And although I don't have them out the box, I don't know, I'm weird that way. So awesome, you kept it all. Yeah, at one stage I had all this stuff in a storage unit, and then I worked out that